A hearty good morning to all the research enthusiasts who have joined us virtually today through Google Meet and YouTube. Myself, Nikita Ahuja, a student of BCom Honors with Research. Research, as we all know, is the backbone of innovation and academic progress. In today's generation, the standards of research are constantly rising. It's no longer just about gathering information, but about questioning, analyzing, and contributing something meaningful to the world of knowledge. Within this framework, hypothesis testing holds special importance. It enables researchers to test assumptions, draw evidence based conclusions, and ensure that their work stands on solid ground. Truly, without hypothesis testing, research would remain incomplete and uncertain. With this in mind, today's expert lecture on hypothesis testing is specially designed to enhance our understanding and sharpen our research skills, especially as 7th semester students who are actively engaging in research based learning. We are truly honored to have with us a highly distinguished academician, Professor D.N. Sensenwal, whose research intellect and academic acumen we have often heard about. In fact, the teacher who is conducting this session today, Dr. Sheena Thomas Ma'am, had the privilege of once studying under Sir, and she continues to admire him deeply. I would now request Ma'am to kindly share a few words about her experience of learning from Sir.
Thank you so much, Nikita. And I would very especially thank Dr. D.N. Sansinwal for being here, for accepting our invite, and for being here. And children, honestly, as Nikita said, whatever I am today, I attribute my entire success and my teaching strategies to Sir. So thank you so much, Sir. And I'm sure when Sir will talk today, you would agree to what I am saying right now. So without any further ado, I would Nikita to please continue. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ma'am. Thank you. And now, to extend a warm welcome to the gathering and to formally introduce our esteemed expert, I invite Mr. Malay Gautam, a student of BCom Honors with Research.
Good afternoon, everyone. On the behalf of all the students, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you all to this expert session on hypothesis testing. Today is truly special day because it gives us the opportunity to learn, grow, and be inspired by one of the famous research experts and educationists. He retired as head and dean faculty of Devi Ahilya University, Indore, holding many specializations in the field of research. So renowned and expert in his field that he became the inventor of JERK technology, multiple discriminatory type item, and so on. I am talking about none other than famous researcher Professor D.N. Sansanwal. Sir, we are honored to be taught by you. Thank you for taking out time from your busy schedule. Now, the platform is all yours. Please enlighten us with your knowledgeable insights. We wholeheartedly welcome you, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. Let me at the outset express my gratitude to the Institute and especially to Dr. Sheena Thomas. She said that whatever she is because of me. No, I do not agree with her. Whatever she is because of her hard work and because she is constantly improve the understanding of the subject which she is taking. Anyway, so once again, very, very grateful to the Institute and let me begin. Now, dear friends, let me tell you right in the beginning, I'm not using PPT. I'll be using my Word file as a whiteboard and you can take down notes, whatever you like. That's entirely up to you. So to start with, I will like to ask a question and here is a question. I'm sure you can see this particular question. Are you able to see this question or not?
Yes, sir, it's
Yes.
visible.
Then please answer this question. You can write in the chat box.
Yeah, students, you can use your chat box to please
Yes,
pin
yes,
down the
yes, yes,
responses.
yes, yes, please. You can note down your answers in the chat box. I will see it.
So the question is, if it is not readable, the question says which of the following is our variables. Okay.
That's right.
So, and then there are certain pointers given: content of research, methodology,
Correct,
social
correct,
problems. I
correct,
hope it is
correct, correct.
clear to all of you. So you please use the chat box to please pin down the answers. Okay, which are variables. Use the chat box and please keep yourself muted because more than one mic may disturb the entire platform.
They can only write the number. They need not to write the complete answer. No need of writing words. You can write the number that these are the correct one. So only four people have given the answer. Your time is 8 minutes past 12. Okay, so your time is up, and I hope you must have given your responses. Okay, not many people have given. Anyway, it's all right. Let me go ahead with one more question. Here is another question. You can write the answer of this question also in the chat box. I'll give you 1 minute for it. Only two people have given the answer of the second question. Okay, let me now give you the correct answer of both the questions, and you can compare your answer with the correct answer. And if your answers are same as my answers, then you understand. Otherwise, my dear friend, you do not understand, then I don't know whether you will understand hypothesis testing or not. So let me tell you, the first question was this, that which of the following is are variable or variables? The content of research methodology is a variable. Why? Because there are different chapters, so chapters varies, and each chapter has got different information. So here content of research methodology varies, so it's a variable. Social problems is a variable, because each one of us must be having the some social problem, but all of us may not have the all same social problem. Some problems may be common, but some may be different, so variable. Urban teachers is not a variable. It's only a population, only urban. It's not rural. Hemoglobin is a variable. Female science teacher not a variable. Anxiety is variable. Discussion method is not variable. If I would have written methods of teaching, then that would have been the variable. Why? Because discussion method can be one, lecture method can be another one, then seminar method can be another one, field method may be, etc., etc. So it's not a variable. Achievement in physics is a variable. Government school is not a variable. Teaching experience is variable. Types of universities is variable. 75% marks in Hindi not variable. Cost of fruits is variable. Subject is variable. Red color is not variable. Reading comprehension is variable. Average intelligence not variable. Types of pollution is the variable. You know different types of pollution. Baleno car is not variable. Long answer type answer not variable. 28 degrees Celsius temperature not variable. Blood count is variable, and methods of validity are variable. My dear friend, if you have these as your answers, then it means you know the variable. And if you know the variable, then you can understand the other aspect of research methodology, because variable is the base, is the basic thing. Now the second question was, which of the following is or not correct name or names of step of research? Identification of problem is the correct name. Defining the problem is not the correct name. Selecting place of data collection not the correct name. And thinking about hypothesis not the correct name. So these are not the correct names. Collection of data is the correct name. Deciding the time of data collection not the correct name. Conclusion is the correct name. Selection of problem not the correct name. Selection of guide not the correct name. Selection of variable not the correct name. Selection of university for doing research not the correct name. Purchasing research methodology books not correct name. And reading papers from the journals not correct name. And data analysis is the correct. So my dear friend, these are the correct answer of this particular question, and if you also have written the same, then you know the steps of research. And if you do not know the steps of research, my dear friend, very, very, very difficult to understand what I will now tell you. Any question, any participant like to ask here? Any question, any participant like to ask? Okay, if no question, then I am proceeding further. Now, dear friends, I am taking you directly to the steps of research. And you must be knowing all the steps of the research. One of the steps of the research is identification of problem. And in this particular step, as a researcher, you are supposed to decide your variable or select your variable. Then you are supposed to write your title. You are supposed to write your variable, select your variable, you are supposed to write your title, and you are supposed to write your objective. Objective or objectives or even the such question if you want. But you should not write both. One, the second step is formulation of hypothesis. And my dear friend, those people who will conduct or are conducting researches where they have the qualitative information, then they cannot have hypothesis in their research. But if they can convert the qualitative information into quantitative, or if they are collecting the quantitative information, then and only then they will have the second step as a formulation of hypothesis. And in this particular one, I am sure you must be knowing the definition. You must be knowing the basis of formulating hypothesis. And then you must be knowing the types of hypothesis. Can any one of you tell me how many types of, can you name the types of hypothesis? You can write your answer in the chat box. Name types of hypothesis. I'm waiting for your answer. Okay, 2 participants have given the answer, 3 participants have given the answer, 4 have given the answer, 5, 6. No, I'm sorry, my dear friends. The types of hypotheses are 3. One is called research hypothesis. Another is called statistical hypothesis. is called operational hypothesis. And then there are forms of hypothesis. Most of you have written the forms. One is called null form, and it is denoted by H0. And another is called alternative form or directional form, and it is denoted by H1. So these are the forms. So most of you had given the answer of a form, not of a statistical hypothesis. In order to decide whether you should have a null form or directional form, there are bases. And I will not be talking about all that because I have only to tell you the testing of the hypothesis. Whereas without this, you cannot understand it. Let us see. Then another is the wording of the hypothesis. Then in which tense can we word it? Can any one of you tell me what will be the tense? Is it present, past, or future? In which tense should we word it? Should we word it in the present tense, past tense, or future tense? Yes, some people have given it in the past tense, future tense, no. But majority of you have written it in the present tense, this is correct. And then you have to write the word significant. And now, if you have worded your hypothesis, then it is the testing of the hypothesis. Normally, testing of the hypothesis is a part and parcel of your data analysis. So if you want, I can take it here, or if you want, I can take it in the data analysis. So do you want I to take it in the data analysis, or you want me to take it here? You can write in the chat box. Okay, no answer, no problem. Okay, so these are the important information you must know as far the hypothesis is concerned. Then the third step will be the data collection. And in the data collection, if you are doing the philosophical research, then you have to collect the data by using the primary source. I repeat, if you are collecting, if you are doing a philosophical research, or you are doing a research on a particular author, mostly in languages, we do on a particular author, maybe in Hindi, maybe Mahadevi Varma or whatever it is, then you are using only the primary source. If you are conducting a historical research, then you can collect your information either using primary source or using the secondary source. But if you are not conducting the philosophical research and historical research, if you are conducting the survey research or experimental research or case study research, then you have to collect data from the field. Your field can be laboratory for science students. Your field can be outside the laboratory, maybe your school, maybe your corporate offices, maybe your villages, maybe your cities, whatever it is, maybe your malls, etc., etc., maybe school, etc. So then in that case, you must know about the sampling. I will not talk about more that. Once you have selected your sample, you must know your tool, or you can say instrument. Once you have decided, then you must do your method of research. Then your data analysis is, your data collection is over. Next is the data analysis. Dear friends, you have two types of data. One is your qualitative data. And in qualitative data, you can use content analysis, or you can use meta-analysis, or you can do SWOT analysis, or SWO. SWOT analysis: strength, weakness, opportunity or threat. Another can be strength, weakness, opportunity, and I just remember that. So these are the ones. If you have the quantitative data, then you must know about the scales of measurement. Here it is. SWOC. C means challenge. Strength, weakness, opportunity, and challenges. Challenge is a mild negative, but threat is a strong negative. So people normally use the C, but corporate people do use T also. So we must know the scales of measurement. I will not do that. Then you know the statistical technique, they belong to the two groups. One is called parametric statistic, other is called a non-parametric statistics. So here the testing of the hypothesis will be there. Parametric statistics and non-parametric statistics. So here, our testing of the hypothesis, so you know the different statistical tests. So here, the testing of the hypothesis will be there. And in test hypothesis, you know two concepts. One is degree of freedom. It is denoted by DF. And another is the level of significance. These are the two important concepts that you must understand. And once you understand this, then we must know about one tail test and two tail test. Because you have to decide when you are testing your hypothesis whether it is one tail or two tail. What does it mean? I will tell you just now. Nothing to worry about it. So, do you know the concept of degree of freedom? Do you know the concept of degree of freedom?
No,
Quickly.
no, sir, we have yet not discussed it in class.
Okay. What have you discussed, Dr. Thomas?
No, just the base. We've just started with hypothesis only, just the introduction.
No, then my dear
Just one
lady,
class.
then my dear, how will they understand if they don't know the types of hypotheses, etc.? How will they understand then? Then we cannot make them to understand the testing of the hypothesis without that. Then in 1 hour, I can't teach all these type of the thing. And I don't think they will appreciate the testing of the hypothesis without having understood the types of hypothesis, the basis of formulating the hypothesis. So what do I do?
So we will go step by step. First, we'll give them the base, degree of freedom, level of significance, and the basic formulation. And maybe in a second lecture, we can have hypothesis testing, if that be the case.
Okay, second lecture, when do you want to have? In continuation tomorrow or day after tomorrow or today only?
So no, we'll give them a break. Maybe next week, whenever it is comfortable for you.
Okay, next week,
Yeah.
anything before Sunday.
Sure, sir.
So then do I start with basics of hypothesis?
Yes,
All right,
yes.
all right. Okay, dear friends, I have discussed with your ma'am, and so therefore we are starting now the basic of the hypothesis. So formulation of hypothesis. So let me give you the definition of hypothesis. Say hypothesis is the tentative solution of the problem. Please understand, it is not the final solution, it is the tentative solution. Many times when we go to the doctor examines the patient, and after examining the patient, then the doctor will prescribe the medicine. But sometimes doctor does request the patient or tell the patient that you go to the pathology lab and get your blood test done or some other testing. Why he wants that test? Because whatever he is thinking is tentative, but he gets it confirmed only and only after getting the pathology report. So therefore, hypothesis as it is tentative, so it has to be tested. Without testing, you cannot be sure of your outcome. So that is the meaning of tentative. Say, when suppose there are 3 people at home and all 3 they go for their works, and each one of us, each one of them, they have the key, independent key of the house. Suppose you reach home and you find that there is no one at home, that you find the lock is not at the door. So what comes to your mind? You reach home and you find that lock is not there. So what comes to your mind? Please write your answers in the chat box, or if permitted, you one by one you can unmute and you can tell me the answer, no problem. I'm still waiting for your answer. Okay, that is the one. What can be another one? Okay, all right. So different people have given different one. That when you reach home, that and you find there is no lock at the door, 3 points will come to your mind. Number one, one of the family members has come already before you. So that member has opened the door. Another can be some robbery has taken place. Another can be the person might have forgotten to lock. These are the three tentative solutions of this particular problem. Now, when you open the door and you go inside, now you are collecting the information. So you see everything is intact. So that means theft has not taken place. Now, in the meantime, one family member who came before you comes and he tells, so today I have come before you. So that means now you know the lock was opened by one of your family members who has come before you. So this is what, after collecting the information, then you can reach to your solution or conclusion. So therefore, till then it is tentative. Another definition is hypothesis is the intelligent guess about the solution of the problem. Now please see, it is intelligent guess. It is not the guess. What is the difference between guess and intelligent guess? Intelligent guess means there is a base. Without having base, it cannot be intelligent guess. You know, during examination, when you prepare, then you normally look to the last 4-5 years question paper, and then normally you try to decide that most probably from this particular chapter and this portion of the chapter a question may come. This decision is on the basis of the last year's question paper, 4 years, 5 years, 6 years question paper. Now, those people who prepare for the UGC NET exam, normally they take the last 5-6 years question paper available on the internet and they prepare with the help of those by answering the questions. So therefore, that is what is the intelligent guess. Means there must be some base. And another definition is hypothesis is the conjectural statement about relationship between variables. So it is the conjectural statement. It is not the final statement, just a conjecture. So these are the three definitions of the hypothesis. And according to these three definitions, you know that hypothesis is not final. So therefore, if you want to make it final, you have to test it. So you have to test the hypothesis. And if you test the hypothesis, you cannot test without the help of the statistical techniques. So statisticians have developed different statistical tests which may be used to test the hypothesis. So therefore, hypothesis can be tested with the help of statistical technique. If you want to use the statistical technique, then my dear friend, you must have the quantitative data. Now listen carefully. If you have collected the quantitative data in your research, then you can analyze it with the help of a statistical technique, and then you can test the hypothesis. I repeat, if you have collected the quantitative information, then you can analyze with the help of a statistical technique and you can test the hypothesis. But if you have collected qualitative data, then qualitative data cannot be analyzed with the help of statistical technique, then you cannot test the hypothesis and you should not formulate the hypothesis. For example, if there is a variable like social problems, so the responses will always be the qualitative. Some will have this social problem, someone may have this social problem. And this qualitative information cannot be converted into quantitative. So therefore, there will be some variables for which you will have the qualitative information and therefore you cannot convert it into quantitative. Hence, you cannot use statistics and you cannot test the hypothesis. But if you have collected the qualitative information, I'll give you an example. That there is a question in the examination and question is qualitative and the students write answer, this is also qualitative. But what teacher does, what examiner does, the examiner reads the answers which is qualitative in nature of the question which is qualitative, and then the teacher might be giving the marks. And when the teacher does like that, then teacher is converting qualitative information into quantitative. So listen now carefully. If you have pure quantitative information, then you can analyze with the help of a statistical technique and you can test the hypothesis. If you have collected the qualitative information and you want to use it only as a qualitative because it cannot be converted into quantitative, then you cannot analyze with the help of a statistical technique and you cannot test the hypothesis, then you should not formulate the hypothesis. Therefore, In qualitative research, there is no hypothesis as a second step. In philosophical research, there is no hypothesis. In historical research, there is no hypothesis. In descriptive survey research, there is no hypothesis. In case study research, there is no hypothesis. Hypothesis will be only and only in experimental research and correlational survey research. Otherwise, you cannot have a hypothesis. So if you have collected the qualitative data and you can convert it into quantitative, then you can analyze it with the help of statistical technique and you can test the hypothesis and then you should formulate a hypothesis. So that is what exactly is the definition of the hypothesis and other aspects. Now the basis of formulating hypothesis. Now, dear friend, the bases are like this. I'm sure you might have studied the sources of problem. And if you have studied the sources of the problem, then I can use the same source here in order to tell you the basis of formulating the hypothesis. There are different bases of formulating the hypothesis. One of the bases review of related literature. My dear friend, you must be knowing the literature does not mean English, Hindi, Malayalam, Urdu, French, Chinese, etc. Literature means journal. Literatures mean e-journal. Literatures mean Shodh Ganga. Literature means the thesis. The literature means dissertation, abstract, international, etc., etc. And those people who are from education, then there are other sources, and these are survey of research in education. Survey of research in education. In your library, you must be having this, and you can use it in order to formulate your hypothesis. My dear friend, here the word is related. If you are working in commerce, and in commerce, if you are trying to work in marketing, then your researches must be related to the marketing. So you will see the journals or e-journals or thesis or Shodh Ganga and try to find out those researches which have been conducted by different researchers. And those researches, they are related to your marketing strategy or advertisement, or it can be anything. So therefore, this is what you have to do. Now, when you review the related literature, then you may find that no research has been conducted, because you have already selected your area and related to that particular area, you have already selected your variable, because both of them, they are part and parcel of step number one. Now, since you have selected your variable, so you will like to see all researches conducted related to that particular problem. If you want to study some use of AI, AI in marketing, say for teaching, say AI for research. If you want to conduct the research related to AI, and if you try to see the different journals or thesis or Shodh Ganga, it is quite possible that you may not find any research related to AI. So when we select the variable, then it is quite possible that we may come across that no research has been conducted. And if no research has been conducted, means there is a gap. And when it is a gap, then my dear friend, can we formulate hypothesis in the directional form? Or if there is no base, or should we formulate hypothesis in the form? You can write your answer in the chat box, I will see. That if there is no base, then can we give a direction or we should not give the direction? If we cannot give the direction, then it is null hypothesis. If we can give the direction, it is then the directional hypothesis, because there is a strong base. So here no research has been conducted. Then should we formulate hypothesis in the null form or directional form? What do you think? I'm waiting for your answer. Okay, don't worry. Let me tell you. If it has not, no research has been conducted. For example, if there is a person and there is a court case against him, and the case comes before the judge, and there is no evidence. And if there is no evidence, then my dear friend, the judge will not punish the culprit, but judge will leave that culprit. Because there is no strong base. And if there is no base or no strong base, then you cannot. So if there is a gap, then it means we do not have any strong base. So here the hypothesis should be formulated in the null form. In the null form means there is no evidence, so theft has not taken or he has not been involved in that. So therefore it has to be in the null form. And null form is denoted by H0. Now, suppose you find that a few research has been conducted. If you have only a few research, then on the basis of a few evidences, the judge never give the punishment to the culprit. You might have seen that many of the people they are left off because only very few people, few evidences are there, and those few evidences are not very strong. So if that is the condition, then here also you have to formulate hypothesis in the null form. Now the third situation is that if large number of researches have been conducted, suppose I'm just presuming, let us say 1 lakh researches have been conducted. If 1 lakh researches have been conducted, then dear friends, we have 1 lakh findings. And suppose these are the researches which have been conducted where they have compared the mean score of anxiety of urban students and the rural students. I repeat, suppose researches have been conducted where mean scores of anxiety of urban and rural students were compared. This is the situation that if researches have been conducted where mean scores of anxiety of urban and rural students have been compared. Now, you may have, if you analyze the finding of 1 lakh researches, then quite possible that you may find that 80% of researches found that mean score of anxiety of urban student, mean score of anxiety of urban student is, say, greater than mean score of anxiety of the rural student. This suppose. And if you find that 15% of the researches found that mean score of anxiety of urban student is equal to the mean score of anxiety of the rural student, and suppose 5% researches indicate that mean score of anxiety of urban student is significantly lower than that of the rural student. If this is the situation, then should we formulate hypothesis in the null form or in the directional form? You see these 3 conditions, and according to the condition, now you can tell should we formulate hypothesis in the null form or in the directional form. You can write your answer in the chat box. Yes, all of your answers, 3 people have given and their answers are correct. I need some more people if they can answer. You are right. So my dear friend, here we have to formulate hypothesis in the directional form. It is H1. Now, if suppose this is not the situation, if the situation is like this, that if you find that 80% of the researches, they reported that mean score of anxiety of urban student is equal to the rural student, and suppose 15% of the researches indicate that mean score of anxiety of urban student is significantly higher than the rural student, and 5% researches indicate that mean score of anxiety of urban student is lower than that of the rural student. Now, in this particular situation, should we formulate hypothesis in the directional form or in the null form? Should we formulate hypothesis in the null form or in the directional form? You can see the condition again. 80% found that mean score of anxiety of urban student is equal to the mean score of anxiety of the rural student. 15% indicate that mean score of anxiety of urban student is significantly higher than that of the rural student, and 5% indicate that mean score of anxiety of urban student is significantly lower than that of the rural student. In this situation, should hypothesis be formulated in the null form or in the directional form? Can we give the direction or not? Yes. One participant has answered, 2 have answered, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Gautam, think again. My dear friend, in this particular case, majority have said in the null form, and you are right. Because majority of the researches are saying there is no difference. And if there is no, then it means you cannot have a direction. It has to be null. So therefore here the hypothesis must be formulated in the null form. And majority of you have got it. So it has to be formulated in the null form. And so it has to be denoted by H0. Let us take one more situation. Suppose because there can be different conditions. Suppose 40% of the researches indicate that mean score of anxiety of urban student is equal to that of the rural student, and suppose 45% indicate that mean score of anxiety of urban student is significantly higher than the rural student, and 15% indicate that mean score of anxiety of urban students is significantly lower that of the rural student. Now, in this situation, should hypothesis be formulated in the null form or in the directional form? Now, in this situation, should it be in the null form or in the directional form? No, my dear friend, just think about it. See, here it is 40% and 45%. These two percentages do not differ too much. They are not like this, 80% and 15%. Because here the difference is large, that is why we had a null form of the hypothesis. Directional form of the hypothesis. But here the difference is not very large. It may be by chance. So if the difference is not too large, then my dear friend, we cannot formulate in the hypothesis in the directional form. We have to formulate hypothesis in the null form. So if your base is weak, then you cannot formulate it in the directional form, as the judge cannot punish the culprit if the evidences are weak. If the evidences are strong, then the culprit will be punished. There's no doubt about it. But if it is weak, then it will not. So you can use that logic and you can take a decision whether it should be rejected or it should not be rejected. So therefore, one important base for deciding whether your hypothesis should be formulated in the null form or in the directional form, the base is review of related literature. Any question, any participant like to ask? Any question, any participant like to ask? You can write your question in the chat box or you can unmute and ask the question. All right. If no, then there is one more base, and that is the underlying theory. If there is a theory on which your research is based, then should you formulate hypothesis in the null form or in the directional form? If theory is the base, then what do you think? Should hypothesis be formulated in the null form or in the directional form? Gautam, think again. If you have a theory, yes, Masood, your answer is correct. Akshara, your answer is correct. Shukla, your answer is correct. Yeah, your answer is correct. So therefore, now you know it. You have got it. Yes. So if theory is the base, then my dear friend, you cannot formulate hypothesis in the directional form. Here it is hypothesis should be formulated in the directional form because there is a base. So you cannot formulate in the null form. So here hypothesis should be formulated in the directional form. And the direction will be decided according to the theory. So whatever is the direction, it will be decided by the theory. So you must understand the theory and then you can formulate hypothesis in the directional form. So I have given you the definition of hypothesis. I have also given you the basis of formulating the hypothesis, and I have told you about the null form or the directional form. Can I take another 5 minutes, Professor?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Please, please. Yes,
All
sir.
right. Now, my dear friend, now you give me the name of one variable. Okay, do you know the types of the variable? Students, name the types of the variable in your chat box. Quickly. Name the types of variable. Okay. Ahuja is the one. Okay. No, my dear friend, the variables are not dependent and independent. Dependent and independent are the variables only and only if you are conducting an experimental study. If you are not conducting an experimental study, then my dear friend, you cannot use the name as dependent and independent. So Dr. Thomas, right now I'm not telling them the types of the variable. So before the next class, can you brush up once again the types of the variable as continuous and discontinuous everywhere, or do you want me to take it up? I can take it up quickly. Tell me.
Yes, sir. You can take it up, followed by an example wherein we formulate
All
a
right, all right, all right. Okay. So my dear friend, you know the variable refers to changeable characters. Any characteristic which has a tendency to change will be the variable. Example. Types of car. Vegetables. Weight. Height. Power of lens. Blood count. Hemoglobin. Subjects. cost of fruits, colors, number of lines on pages of books, number of words per line, number of working days, working hours, achievement, achievement in Hindi or any subject, reasoning ability, reading speed, reading comprehension. Do you need some more examples or is it all right? Head circumference. Is it okay or you want more examples?
So this is just perfectly fine. So many examples for them to refer. So yeah.
No, but I want student to say it because we are for students. All right, fine. If you want more, I can give you more. So that's what exactly is variable. That much you must understand. And here are the example. I have given plenty of examples. Then we have another one, and that is constant. Constant refers to unchangeable characters. For example, number of days in a week. You ask anyone, everyone will give you the same answer, 7 days in a week. But working days, they are different. If you ask the sum of 3 angles of a triangle, everyone will give you the same answer, 180. If you say the value of pi, everyone will give you the same answer, 22/7. If you ask someone how many seconds in 1 minute, everyone will give you the same answer. So there are many constants. And in science, there are plenty of constants. So there are constants which cannot be made variable. They are constant forever. Another, you must know, a variable may be held constant, but a constant cannot be made variable. For example, if you say medium of instruction, Medium of instruction can be Hindi, it can be English, it can be Malayalam, it can be mixed also. It can be Marathi, it can be Urdu, it can be Gujarati, etc., etc. So medium of instruction is a variable, but if I say only English medium, English medium of instruction, then my dear friend, in this particular case, because I am only using English as a medium, so therefore here medium of instruction is held constant. So therefore here medium of instruction is held constant. It is not made constant. A variable will always remain a variable. You cannot change its basic nature. If I say gender, is a variable, and if I say girls' college, now if it is a girls' college, the boys cannot take admission. So in this case, the gender is held constant. So please do not use the word made constant. It is held constant because the basic nature will remain a variable. But for a particular purpose, for a particular situation, you may held it constant, but you cannot make it constant. Students, is it clear? Have you understood, or do you want some more examples? Quickly. Students. All right, then I go to the next. Now I'm going to the types of variable. My dear friend, there are two types of variable. One is called a continuous variable, and another called a discontinuous variable. So continuous variables are those which can be expressed both in whole number as well as fraction. Example. If you see your weight, somebody weight might be 40 kg, somebody weight might be 40.5 kg, somebody weight might be 40.2 kg, etc., etc. Say achievement in English. One may get 20 out of 20, someone may get 9.5 out of 20, someone may get 8.75 out of 20, etc. So it can be this. Power of lens. Somebody's lens power might be 1, somebody lens power might be 0.2, somebody lens power might be 1.2. So it can be whole number or fraction, it's all. Stress, anxiety, reading comprehension. Then reaction towards online teaching. So reaction towards online teaching. Cost of fruits. Intensity of red color. Head circumference. Then working hours. Then hemoglobin. So do you want some more examples or is it all right? Do you want more examples or is it all right? Okay. Now, the discontinuous variables are those which can be expressed only in the whole number. You cannot have it in fraction. Example, number of participants. Right at the moment, there are 52 participants are there. So I cannot say 51.5. Okay. Say number of pages in books. Types of fruit. Types of car. Medium of instruction. Methods of teaching. Cost. Blood count. Number of books in libraries. Types of computer. Computer languages. Types of question, or you can say item. Then social problems. Personal problems. Do you want more examples or is it okay? Participants, do you want more examples or is it all right? Enough, all right. Now, If you want more, working days, working hours is continuous, but working days are discontinuous. Now then, continuous variable may be converted into discontinuous but a discontinuous variable cannot be converted into continuous variable. For example, if you have achievement in, say, English, is a continuous variable. So you can say pass or you can say fail. So achievement in English has been converted into a discontinuous where pass and fail is there, or you can say first division or second division or third division or fail. If you have, let us say, achievement in English, so you may have something like this. No, that's okay. Achievement in English, it is, say, if you have, say, cost of fruits, then you can say high or you can say average or you can say low. So cost is a continuous variable, but you can convert it into a discontinuous variable. So a continuous variable can be converted into discontinuous, but discontinuous cannot be converted into continuous. When you have pass and fail, now you cannot convert this into continuous, but from continuous the answer is yes. Now these are the two types of variable in all researches, whether you conduct in commerce or in management or in English or in Hindi or in education, psychology, philosophy, medical science, agriculture, music, dance, anywhere, all these are the types of the variable. Only in experimental research, if you are conducting an experimental research, then the variables are one is called independent variable and another is called dependent variable. After explaining this, I will close for today. Say if I have a quality of food and your health, then can you tell me which one is independent and which one is dependent? The quality of food and health. Which one is dependent and which one is independent? quickly. Okay, do not worry. Say here, quality of food is independent because by changing the quality of food, you can change the health. So changes in the health can be brought by changing the quality of food. Now, if you have monthly income and quality of food, now, according to your monthly income, you can change the quality of food. So monthly income becomes independent variable and quality of food becomes a dependent variable. So no variable forever is dependent or independent. The situation will decide, the context will decide which variable is dependent and which variable is independent. Now, if I take methods of teaching and if I take your understanding, then methods of teaching becomes an independent variable and your understanding becomes a dependent variable. But your understanding does not entirely depend on the methods of teaching. It does depend on your previous knowledge. It depends on your concentration. It depends on your listening comprehension. It depends on your interest. Like this. So there are many variables which can bring change in your understanding along with the methods of teaching. But if you want to study the effect of only methods of teaching on understanding, then my dear friend, such type of variables you must control. And if you do not control, then these variables becomes intervening variables. So in experimental research, there are intervening variables. But intervening variables can also be in survey research. So intervening variables are those which are in the process or and or outside the process. But bring change in the dependent variable in the presence of independent variable. Right now, when you are listening to me, if you are tired, then it is quite possible you may miss some of my sentences, and therefore it is because you are tired and you are a part and parcel of the process. So it is the intervening variable. Your tiredness becomes the intervening variable. If you are not listening, if my voice is not clear, then it becomes a intervening variable and it is in the process. Now, wherever you are sitting, and if there are people around you who are talking, then you may miss some of my sentences because of the noise, and which is not a part of the process, it is outside the process. So intervening variable will always be of the two types. One is called intrinsic intrinsic intervening variables, which is inside the process, and another can be extrinsic intervening variable, which is outside the process. Extrinsic. Extrinsic intervening variable. So, which are outside the process will be extrinsic, and they are also called confounding variable. Now, right now, each one of you do not have the same height. And height is a variable, and it is in the process, but it does not bring change in your understanding. So it is called concomitant variable. So your skin color is a concomitant variable. Your weight is a concomitant variable. Your height is a concomitant variable. The dress, the color of the dress is a concomitant variable because in the process, but it does not bring change in your understanding of the research method. So concomitant variables are those which are in the process but do not bring change in the dependent variable in the presence of independent variable. Now your height is a concomitant variable at present, but in basketball it may become an intervening variable. So one variable in one research might be intervening. The same variable in another research may be concomitant, and vice versa. Now, your independent variable is always a discontinuous variable, or you can say discrete variable. Your dependent variable will always be the continuous variable. And your intervening variable might be continuous variable. Continuous, or it might be discontinuous variable. Your concomitant variable may also be either the continuous variable or discontinuous variable. So these are the relationships between continuous variable, discontinuous variable on one hand, independent, dependent, intervening, and concomitant variable on another hand. And my dear friend, independent and dependent word you should use only if you are conducting an experimental study. Then you can say independent variable and dependent variable. But if you are not conducting an experimental study, then the variable name used must be continuous variable or discontinuous variable. And your intervening variable is always in experimental research, but it can also be in survey research. So I'm closing it here today. Any question, any one of you like to ask, then I'm saying bye-bye to you today. Any question, any participant like to ask? If no question, then thank you very much.